in there. How's everybody doing? No, it's not the COVID. It's cannabis. How's everybody doing? I'm really tired. Now I've gotta turn this fan on a little higher here because it's getting hot. I'm traumatized.
Here's why I threw away all.
Last night, okay. Now we live in the country, and happy Thursday. I'm going to let everybody come in for take their time to come in while I tell this story. We live in the country, all right? And before we bought this house, it sat empty for over a year. And we've lived in another house that sat empty for a year. Sat empty for over a year before we bought it. And the issue is mice. Now, you can't just kill mice and not expect. They leave. They don't have any bladder. They leave a trail. All right? And when they die, more mice follow. It's a genetic memory thing. Their offspring and their offspring's offspring will follow the same tracks, right? So please don't judge me when I tell you what happened last night. I was laying in bed and I had my bedtime snack because one of the medications I'm on is really hard on my stomach, and my stomach is very delicate from gastric bypass. Hey, Joe Mama! I'll say hi to everybody in a minute. So I was laying on my left side. There's my bedside table. I have my salt lamp on and my little stained glass lamp on, and I was reading. I'm reading the Karen Marie Moning books again. Anyway, I had a piece of watermelon that I'd cut up into spears, and I had eaten it, and the rind was still there on the plate. And I'm laying there, and I just catch something out of the corner of my eye, and there's a mouse on my bedside table, 10 inches from my face, making itself at home. And I went, "You little bugger." And I went to grab its tail, and it took off. Well, I thought, well, I'm going to deal with this, So, I'm going to deal with this first thing tomorrow. I've got traps. Right? Enough's enough. So I, settle back down into my book. Not 3 minutes later. And it comes again. And I went, "You bold little bugger." Now, this is some kind of supernatural mouse, I'm telling you. Okay? We can't do cats. We can't do cats. They don't travel well. Anyway, it scattered when it heard my voice. So I just kind of moved my glass of water out of the way, and I just laid back down and I waited. And that little bugger came again. And all I could see was his tail. And I pinched the end of his tail, and I headed for the bathroom. And that thing started crawling up his tail like it was a rope, and he was clawing at my fingers. He wasn't biting me, but he was determined to get away. So I dropped him in the toilet and I flushed. He didn't go down. He didn't go down. And he was trying to climb up the sides of the bowl. So I had to get the toilet brush and hold him under, because I'm on a well and it takes time for the pressure to build back up in my toilet again. And I couldn't let him get away. And I felt horrible. I had nightmares about it. And then I got up at 3 a.m. This was at around 11 o'clock. And then, and then I got up at 3 a.m. to go refresh my water, and I saw one run across my counter. And I said, "That's it." So I got the big plastic, well, not big plastic, but it's a good mouse trap. Peanut buttered it, and it's on the back. It's on behind the taps on my counter. I expect to hear that snap any friggin' minute. I understand that, but the thing is we can't do cats. You know what I mean? All right, let me see. Oh, I gotta tilt you up here for a second so I can. When I was on top chat, make sure you're on live chat so you don't miss anything, eh? Let me say hi to Celeste Autocure, Elaine E, Aaron, Jane Fitton, Joe Mama, Lacey Black, Lori M, Mary Cook, Mamakins, Our Urban Homestead, Potato Head, hey buddy, Sherry Leach, Skippy Jones, shoot, Suburban Hillbilly, and Tammy M, Tina Harvey, and Yoji. Hey Stephanie, how's it going? Okay, I still have to tilt my head a little bit here. Let's get here and let's go back to the live chat. So I murdered a mouse. It wasn't all clean and tidy like a mice trap going like that and it's over. I had to watch it die, and that really upset me. Oh my God, I'm telling you, Gracie's like, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. I said, no, you'll let her go. And then my cousin Angie phones me, and she says, Angie, there you are. Did you get my text? Howie says, no problem. And if all goes well, maybe I can come too and we'll bring the truck. And you guys will have to find out what we're talking about later. Mice are the worst, I know. Andrew, hello, darling. Grandy, I know. Never pick a mouse up by its tail. The tail runs in its mess. Well, you can be sure I touched the thing. I'm going to wash and sanitize my friggin' hands. Of course. Right? But, oh my gosh. You know? So, yeah. And then 3 o'clock in the morning, I saw the other one. And I was like, okay, I've had enough. I didn't sleep properly after that. Okay, now that I've cooled down a little bit, I can turn the fan off. Oh, I haven't. Hi, Roxanne. I know mice are the worst. Mice are the worst. So I'm going to be on the hunt for mice from here on out, because and I'll tell you. Oh, never mind. But I have a little collage. On my fridge of the baby sonograms, the first sonogram, and a picture of Arthur and Mel, and then 3 pictures in different stages so far of Melly's baby bump. I'm sticking my neck out there. I'm going to stick with what I thought all along, and that it's a girl. And if I'm wrong, I'll never predict again. But I'm 99% positive it's a girl. And that was before I heard what the heart rate was. And but we'll know on August 5th. I get mice every year in the winter, but one in my basement now. Have you not seen my videos where Howie was renovating downstairs and the mice were running through the walls? I had nightmares. So, but I mean, this is summer. What the hell are they doing in my house? Oh, Howie saw bees. I was worried about, I haven't been seeing bees. Thank you, Skippy Jones. So, I did a tea break for Monday because I need some time this weekend. I'm really, like, if you see my video tomorrow, I did a repair video, on some clothing repair video, today. And I could see it in my face. I have bags under my eyes, and the lines on my forehead were just like deep. It was almost like my face was swollen from exhaustion. So yeah, mice. I don't mind mice in their element. Like, let's face it, guys. You've seen us battle mice in the motor coach. You've seen us battle mice in the basement. You've seen me make a bucket. Now, I was going to make that bucket contraption again with the wheelie thing. But the problem is after watching that mouse try and get out of the bowl and swim against the tide of the flush, I in good conscience cannot make a trap where the mice go up, fall into the water, and then have to swim around until they die. That's just cruel. So, I mean, I did it as quick as possible. I'm sure it wasn't very quick for the mouse, but I did it as quick as I could. And that's why traps are the thing, you know? Mice are better and cuter than hamsters. I loved hamster. I love Briar had a hamster. What was his name? Max, I think. And he escaped. They're escape art. Oh, I gotta fix this. They're escape artists, and you know, Briar's hamster escaped, and we just thought he died somewhere, and we couldn't find him anywhere. And then one night, I saw him sneak along the baseboard like a mouse from behind the couch. And we caught him, and he died not long after that. But you know where he'd been living? He'd eaten a hole through the lining. You know the lining at the bottom of the couch? Where so you don't see the springs and stuff? It had gotten a hole, and it was living in there. And it stunk, and I'll never have a hamster again, but I will have a rat again someday. I'm not into cruelty when it's any living thing. No, I mean, no, it still traumatized me, right? I don't like to kill them, right? But, you know, they're kind of like mosquitoes. I'm not going to let them live off of me. You know what I mean? And jeopardize the health of my home. Hey, Corey C. I've had hundreds of hamsters, and pretty much all of them would bite. I've never had a rat or a mouse bite me. I love rat. I used to have a hooded rat. He was white. His name was Winston. And we had him, oh my God. He died here in Quebec, but we had him in Colborne. I had him for, I don't know how many years. I had Winston. He used to like to climb, if I slept in too late on a Saturday morning, how he'd get Winston out of his cage, and he'd lift the blanket at the bottom of the bed, and he'd put Winston in, and Winston would go right up, and he'd snuggle up under my hair and give me kisses, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm up. And if I was sitting on the couch watching TV, and I had him with me on the couch, he'd crawl up and sleep on the back of my neck under my hair. No problem with pet rats. None. I said, get a pair of rat boys. You'll never have mice in your house again. Hey, Malka, how's it going? Rats don't live very long, neither do mice. I can't deal with those tails. Oh, I love rats. Pet rats. Winston was my boy. He's my boy. And one of these days, I may get another one. But until we don't travel anymore, until we don't, until we're done traveling, the only pet I can have is the one that can travel, and that's a dog. Enjoy time with who? They got into my garage 2 years ago, and they still show up. My landlord sets traps. I just tell them when I see one. They get into all the stuff, the jerks. Yeah. You plan on what, Yoshi? What did I miss there? My wonderful mother-in-law will be here Tuesday for 2 months from Mexico. We're so excited. It's been 5 years since we've gotten to see her. All right. So let's say it is, if we can manage it, we're picking Angie up on Saturday and bringing her out here for as long as I can keep her. And you know what? She's one of those dynamos, but I'm going to try and get her to relax while she's here. But we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun. Oh, my shoulder. It's not my shoulder. If I put my hand on this shoulder and I raise it, I can feel it clunking in the joint, but not up here. I put my hand on this shoulder and I feel it grinds. Something's grinding in here, and that's what's making things go numb. I have a pinched nerve in my shoulder. Oh, I know. We're gonna have a blast. We're gonna have a blast. And if we're picking Angie up in Peterborough, and if I go, right? If I go, then if we're picking Angie up in Peterborough, we'll be stopping to see Arthur and Mel too. You know what I mean? So if they're going to be home, they may go up to the cottage on the weekend. Their family, Mel's family has a cottage, I guess, that they take turns using, or they all use it at the same time. I don't know how it works. But I kind of vented my spleen on Trudeau on Rumble the other day. But I've been, taking very serious looks at the climate of our world today, and I realize that we need to be more responsible for our own choices. Remember we talked about it's no longer a get out of jail free card to recycle. I mean, never more so than now when I found out that I'm going to be a grandmother. Did I realize how important it is to have a future for my grandchildren? You need a card drawn. Hello, Jinko. Nina, hi, darling. This reminds me of a turtle my son had. I set the tank in our back room with intent to clean the tank, but the water and turtle froze not once, but twice. I did this, and he thawed out and lived just fine. That's because frogs do that too, eh? Frogs do that too. It's because they're cold-blooded, right? They just go into like a really deep hibernation mode, right? But you were fine on Rumble. I saw it. There's a lot more people that feel the same way. Well, it is what it is. This was my point. This is my point now. I have no control over what that Jello head does, that Disney prince. Okay? I have no control over what he does. I can't do anything about it, but I can, and raging about it isn't going to do me any good. But what I can do is have control and responsibility over my little acre, God's little acre that God gave us. You know what I mean? So that's, more and more and more am I looking at how we can do things better. And one of the things we got to stop is that we've been flooded into consumerism. We've been not flooded. We have been funneled to becoming consumers, that everything can be taken care of, bought, purchased, looked after with money. But what happens when the money's not enough? Right? When there's not, when governments are just printing money. Okay? We have to really look at our grandparents and see how they did things. Because let's face it, they didn't have plastic bags. They didn't have trash bags. They didn't have, department stores or Amazon or anything. They didn't buy anything unless they absolutely had to. Why? Because money was in scarcity. Well, now there's lots of money. Like my father explained it to me. He said depression is when it doesn't matter. Depression is where there's very little food and no money to buy food with. Inflation is when there could be food, but the cost is so high, nobody can afford it, right? You're welcome, Tina Harvey. Paper towels. Yeah, I'm going to use up what's left of my paper towels sparingly because I've gotten more conscious about it. But I'm going to make towels. I'm going to make a roller towel, and I'm going to make a stack of paper towels that are not paper towels, but cheap cloth, like bar towels, and then just toss them in the laundry because I do laundry anyway. Oh, I don't want to talk about my garden. My my cabbages are being attacked. But there's a video coming on showing what I did with the marigolds. The marigolds did good, but not good enough. It's really hot, actually. That's why I keep turning the fan on. I'm going to put my hair up. So give me a second. Thank you, Alice. They're working out fine, Christina. The bathroom cloths, they work out great. Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm getting ready for a little buns or a little ponytail. They work great. And because I do laundry twice a week, it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal. But I have been, and I throw them in with my personal laundry, right? Like I do my laundry and I do Howie's laundry because his work gets full of metal filings and grease and all kinds of stuff from work that I don't want in my clothes or even, you know what I mean? So I just weeded my garden, and I tell you what, blood, sweat, and tears is right. We had all three. Everything looks beautiful and raining now, praise God. Well, we got some rain the last couple of days. And yeah, we need more rain. If we don't get rain tonight, like we had 2 days of drizzly off and on rain, but when you have raised beds, they don't get the ground absorption like the ground does. So they have to be watered every once in a while. Um, so, people are we're just going to have to go back. Isn't it funny how life goes in cycles, right? 100 years ago, people were people were really being wowed by Crisco because this is where all the stuff started, right? In the late 1800s, early 1900s, Crisco and shortening companies. Those were the first things, and then came margarine, and it opened the floodgates for artificial food without much regulation, right? And now, we have it in 100 years. In 100 years, we've gone from even city people knowing how to stretch their buck, okay, and shop locally, the greengrocers down the stairs and down the street. I mean, even when I was a kid, yeah, we had like the AMP and the Dominion and Sunnybrook and all that stuff. But when Nob Hill Farms came out, it was a big deal, right? And we still had on almost every corner where I lived in what's now called Leslieville, there was little grocery stores, where cabbages and bushels of apples and stuff like that. That's still happening. Down in Roncesvalles, where my nephew lives, there's a store right on the corner across the street that you can get fresh oranges and all kinds of stuff. You shop local. But now we have been trained, so to speak. My broccoli and cabbages in bed got eaten by this pretty bright green grasshopper. I'm going to cut it down and get what is left and wash. Well, even if I've kind of, did a temporary, well, not a temporary, I've got a solution for the cabbage moths, but I didn't quite, I did it in desperation. I've got to tweak it tomorrow, but my dad ordered 200 of those jar lids because he forgot my birthday a week ago. Oh, God bless him. Got 6 packs of huge microfiber cloths at Dollarama. Well, this is the thing, okay? We have to stop. You don't have to, but this is the way I'm looking at it. What would you do if you couldn't go to the store? What would you do if you couldn't afford the gas to go to Costco to pay for inflated prices? What would you do? I remember when we first moved to the country, shopping was once a month. And even I have gotten used to, getting Howie to pick things up on the way home. But when I do, I ask him to actually shop. So if we're going, I might be going shopping on Saturday. If I'm going all the way to Pickering and then Peterborough, I'm going to be stopping at the outlets and stuff. Lacey, when was your birthday, Lacey? Roncesvalles. That's where Briar lived for a while, and we went to pick him up there. And it's like right in the area of Dundas and Queen Street West. I think it's where they converge or something. It's It's old Toronto, and I like feel my roots every time I go there, you know. But the way I'm looking at things is if things keep going the way they are, we're not going to be able to afford the gas to drive into Ottawa to go to Costco. Now, I have to make one more Costco run come hell or high water before the end of the month. But I'm looking around my house going, okay, you know what? Those are my favorite pants. They're stretchy, they're torn. How do you repair a tear on the front of your thigh in a stretchy pair of pants? Well, I figured it out, right? Um, I have my flour in bags in the freezer, and pretty soon they're going to be going into tins because they're frozen. And they're going to come up to room temperature, they're going to go into tins, and then I'm going to freeze more flour. Pretty soon, my freezers look nasty. I'm sure the bitch factory just loves my freezers. Hello? But the truth is, I put dehydrators on them. They get wet. They're getting rusty. Yeah, I'm going to Mac tack the top of them. But the truth is, as long as they're working, I'm not replacing them. Why? Because every time we seem to, you know what? The first time in my life, I buy something brand new. The first time in my life, what did I miss? Okay, give me a second here. Oh, Benny's has great rye bread and kielbasa in Roncesvalles. I would have to walk 5 miles to the nearest grocery store. That's not going to be fun during winter, not in Wyoming. I make my own bread now too. Yes, we bought bread for race weekend, right? But we're back to homemade bread again. I just took my big loaf out of the freezer. And from now on, when I bake bread, I'm going to do it once a week. I'm going to bake 3 big long loaves and 2 go in the freezer. Because that just makes sense, doesn't it? Oh, and the bread's so good. It's so good. I missed depression recession explanation. Well, depression is there's no food and there's no money to buy food with, even if you had it. Okay? Inflation means everything's so expensive that you can't afford it anyway. And we're kind of floating around somewhere in the middle. But it ain't pretty these days. My freezer is also getting rusty on the outside, but my old freezer has outlived 3 new refrigerators. Well, that's the point, right? Remember how excited I was when I had a plan, went to the brick. Because our pump, pressure pump for our well blew and drained our well because we didn't hear it. It was down the basement and it went under the subfloor on the concrete and out the drain. But when we fixed it and I went to do laundry, it had pulled silt up through the system. And that wrecked my dishwasher and it wrecked my washing machine. They both died. So I had this plan. Right? Brick always has this no money down, no interest for 36 months. So we went to the brick and I said, I need a fridge, I need a stove, I need a washer, dryer, and a dishwasher. And I bought them all. Because I worked it out that if I made double payments, I would pay them off with no interest before. And I did. But what breaks my heart is that they're junk. Whirlpool was one of the trusted names in appliances, right? They're junk. My dishwasher's held together with zip ties. And my stove is long gone. I had to buy a Frigidaire, which is still a piece of crap. But you know what? I'm going to go on the hunt for a stove from the 50s. And I saw one once, and it had 6 burners and 2 ovens, and it had the elements that were not these little narrow things. It had the great big wide ones that were as wide as your thumb. And you can still get parts for those. And they are tanks. Howie said, no, blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay. And once again, brand new or secondhand, I'm still on my second stove since I bought those appliances brand new some 6 years ago. This is why I have a Magic Chef stove. It's over 30 years old and it's still working like a champ, unlike the pretty one I had bought that I repaired 4 times. So, I mean, I'm not buying new anymore, because you think about this. Things are built to live just as long as the warranty. And then they break down. Okay, I heard Bev say Wyoming. Who is from Wyoming and what part? Big time heritage there. My family is from there, and I graduated from Natrona College. Oh, wow. I know, Joe. They're all junk. So, hey, Melody Ray. Lacey, did you miss your birthday song? What's your first? Give me your first name. It's Karen, isn't it? Isn't it Karen? It's been a long time, but my memory does get going. So, hey, Melody Ray, Sherry Leach, Jean Kubicek, Laura Higgins. So, I'm on the hunt, and I'm really pissed because I could have had that great big Chevrolet 1950 Chevrolet of a stove for $150, and I guarantee it would hold a canner. I have to put my canners very gently on my burners now. Yeah, you keep telling me to buy these canning burners, and they're not really the burner that's the canning part. It's the piece that holds them up underneath. Yeah. Hi, Corey. How's it going, Karina? So, Mama Kit Maytags came with my house, and I was told that I cook with it too much when it was on its 3rd major repair in 8 years. Oh, my God. Well, come on, right? So I'm going to start looking through the marketplace online. And if I find another 1950 stove, like my Aunt Audrey used to have one, and it had 2 ovens, 2 warming ovens, 2 stove tops, and it had push buttons and the electric clock. And I loved that stove. I loved that stove. Hey, Rosie. So I'm just really pissed off. I'm really pissed off that it's taken me this long, because everything in our house is secondhand except our electronics and our appliances. I mean, cripes. I moved Briar, and he put 2 TVs, 2 big screen TVs in the back of my truck, in the back seat of my truck. And then he put 2 in the back of the truck. I said, what's wrong with those? He said, they're junk. They died. I said, geez, those are $400 TVs when you bought them. And he said, yeah. And they went in a dumpster. What kind of society are we living in where we have had to learn, or we've been taught, that money solves everything? You don't have food, you buy it. You don't have clothes, you buy it. You don't have appliances, you buy it. All these things. And now they've gotten us through the pandemic to shop at these big box stores, and nobody can afford to get there with the gas prices. It's insane. So we have to go, I personally, I'm not telling you, but in my book, we as a society have to go back to a simpler way of life where we're not buying things. We're finding other ways to upcycle and recycle what we have to fit the job, right? I'm not buying new again. I'm going to have to buy a computer, but I'm definitely not like this. This is a piece of shit. This computer. It's an Acer. And somebody sent me a card reader. I'm down to 2 USB ports. Yeah, it's under my desk and it's probably full of pot and dirt. But the truth is, it's a hunk of junk. So I talked to both my sons, and they said, Mom, build a computer. I said, what do you mean build a computer? And so my son Arthur talked me through this place where you can go and buy all the main parts for your computer. And then once you know what you're going to get, like everything kind of depends on another. It's tailor making my computer. So what I'm going to do is it's probably going to cost me about $500 more than this hunk of junk cost me, but I'll have a computer that will run for years because it's going to be tailor made to fit my needs as a 3-channel YouTuber. You know what I mean? Well, I get you, Lorraine. I get you. I mean, look at my truck. I bought that truck brand new. Brand new. And when I got in the accident, it could not be even steered properly to get it to a parking lot. Like Howie said, oh, I'll limp it home. Nice try. It didn't have like a hydraulic steering system. It had an electric one. And because they got another steering system used and put it in my truck because my truck wasn't new anymore. Excuse me, I pay insurance so you can put used parts in my truck. And then the steering arm, you saw how we make the steering arm went in it. Now that wasn't part of the used part. That was the original part on the truck. But they're just crap. I still am mystified when I'm setting up my Bluetooth in the truck. Every once in a while, the phone will ring and the radio will come on at the same time. And I've had that thing to the dealership, and they don't understand why it does that. Okay? And when they fixed my truck after that accident I had, now my mirror is still electronic, but I used to be able to pull it in when I was going into a drive-through. It's fused that way. So not only was my truck substandard, but the treatment it got was substandard. I'm tired. I'm tired of paying money for things that don't outlast the payments. The only time they outlast the payments is if you have did what I did with my appliances, paid them all off in 36 months, no interest. My truck won't be paid off for another 2.5 years. And I'm already putting bearings in it and a new steering arm. And you know what I mean? Thank you, Malka. Good evening. Hi, Lucy. I was putting my babies to bed in the hen house. I'm glad I was still able to catch your live chat. Well, I've decided if it's okay, like I'm noticing by the numbers that 9 o'clock, between 8 and 9 o'clock is a better time for y'all, right? If I go on 4 or 5 o'clock, you guys are making dinner. You're not, some of you aren't even home from work yet. And this is the time, 9 o'clock is the time, Howie goes, he comes home from work, we eat supper. We had a lovely supper tonight. We eat supper and we watch a bit of TV. We talk about the day, we watch a bit of news. Yes, I watch the news a bit now, if only to laugh at it and just shake my head. Got to have that cash. The savings is so important. A car is a running bank account. I know. Evening is better for you too. Right, Joe. So the way I'm looking at it now is everything is not about maintenance. I'm losing my disposable attitude. And it's not easy. Okay? When you're hot and sweating and canning, it's easier to grab for a paper towel to wipe your face than to reach for a clean tea towel. So I am going to be making a square tin like I keep my seeds in, and I'm going to be making, I'm going to be cutting up a flannel sheet, right? And I'm going to make that's going to be my bar towels, right? bar towels, even if I have to put a hamper in my kitchen. Right? My pain is high. It's 2:30 a.m. here. My pain is high, but it's nice to catch you. Oh, honey. Well, Sundays are going to probably be earlier. All right. It's just during the week. I have a hard time getting everything done. Right? Like today, I got up. I did a repair video. I unloaded my dishwasher. And what the heck else did I do? I did some editing. I did a tea break for Monday because I need this weekend, right? I did a tea break for Monday, talking about very much what we're talking about now, but it's for our half-acre homestead. My pain bad tonight. MDs don't touch. Yeah, meds don't touch it. Yeah, I hear you, sweetheart. But let's do something. Let's do some deep breathing. Okay? And I want you guys, while I'm rubbing my hands, anybody who's in pain, okay? I want you to focus on me and where the pain is. You tell me where the pain is, okay? Okay, knee, back, shoulder, wow, neck, knee. Oh, I'm feeling a lot of knees out there, folks. I'm going to turn the fan off for this. It's hot work, but I got to do it. How was a shoulder? Ooh, somebody's lower back is really, really like from hip to hip, like a hot iron bar going across the lower back. Knees. Knees. No, I'm not doing Come in Tokyo. Get your mind out of the gutter. Knees. Feel the healing light and warmth. See it. Feel it. Inhale fresh air, exhale pain. I'll be praying for you all tonight, and when I go to bed, when I do my prayer and meditation, I'll be praying for everybody's pain. Even if we can't get rid of it, we need to be able to find a way to live through it, right? To a pain rehab clinic at the end of this month, and we don't know if insurance will cover it. Wow. A lot of my family is sick right now. Dad, hubby, 2 granddaughters, and 2 daughter-in-law. Wow. What the hell's going on? Bev, I was in the garden today, and I have at least 300 or 400 tomatoes getting big. And that's not bad considering it's only the first week of July. Mine are just starting. We've been really cool. The weather's been really cool here. Hey, Freaky Geek, 17. Oh, the poor baby. Hang on a second. It's the virus. Well, are they vaccinated, honey? Are they vaccinated? Because as far as I know, absolutely, Roxanne. Absolutely. All right. Let's do some smoke of the sacred white sage. Please carry our thoughts and our love and our prayers and our desire for a better life upon your smoke to the Creator, the one God, source of all. Cleanse us of negative intent, of reactionary actions. There we go. May I please have a card? Sweetheart, did your pop up? You got a card already about your pop-up. And the same still holds true, darling. You are putting in the work and your efforts are being rewarded. You don't need a fortune teller for that, right? You're already doing the right things, darling. Have the office call and find out if insurance covers it. Say a little prayer for Scott tomorrow. Minor scope, but he has to have anesthesia. Always scary for his situation. Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely. The smallest one is a year old. Some are, some are not. Well, I know, I have no opinion on the virus. People get sick. It's a fact of life. And whether it's Omicron or monkeypox or whatever the case may be, nothing, if we haven't learned that institutions do not have now major world power institutions do not have our best interests at heart. We're just fodder for the money mill. So I no longer I'm getting tingling and stuff in here because I've got a pinched nerve in my shoulder. I'm going to accept that. I'm self-diagnosing. Yes, I'm self-diagnosing. But what's going to happen if I go to the doctor? She's going to go, and then send me for x-rays and ultrasounds, tie up my day, sending me to more medical institutions where I don't want to be around, where I'm going to have to wear a mask. No, I don't want to. I spent last Friday talking to the insurance on my cell and Mayo on my husband's cell, trying to figure everything out. One step at a time, honey. One step at a time. Put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor. Put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. I mean, all we have is right here, right now. All right? We can't change what has already happened. And tomorrow isn't here yet. All we have is right here, right now. So I'm committing to something I've been working towards since my late 20s, early 30s. And that is living a more back to basics life. Yes, I'm on the internet. Yes, I do YouTube channels. But someday that could all end. In the meantime, I'm learning what I can. I'm doing what I can. I'm taking more responsibility for my choices because I want a better world for my grandchild and your grandchild and their grandchildren. You understand? Did you know a doctor only sees his patient in nursing home once a month? Oh, wow. It will get better. Exactly. Right? Everybody's going, every time somebody, have you looked up the original symptoms for this virus? They cover everything that the cold and flu covers, and then some. Why? So that they can say every time someone gets sick, it's the virus. Right? And do all kinds of tests and send you off with, yeah, look at what I went through. Exactly. Look at what I went through. All right? And Now, let me think about this. I had gone for my doctor who used to be in Ottawa, because remember, I transitioned from an Ottawa doctor to a local doctor. And my doctor had set me up for a CAT scan for my nether regions, because I have a lot of pelvic pain. And it started after they removed my ovaries, when they didn't take my uterus. And so by the time I had that appointment, I was no longer with the doctor in Ottawa, and I'd gotten it at an Ottawa hospital. And this doofus doctor I had at the new clinic, who I don't have anymore, thank God, I've got a better doctor, young snot nose, oh, I'm just here until I can get a better gig kind of doctor, right? And he said, oh yeah, well, there's this and there's this and there's this. Well, maybe he said, I said, oh, I had a CAT scan. And he goes, where? I said, at the MOFOR, right? So he sent for the results. And then he sent me for an MRI, which was torture for me, because they didn't put me in the big machine. They put me in the little one. They had to put towels on my arms or I wouldn't have slid in. I had to go in like this, like laying down, going like this. And I went right in up to my eyes. And I had tears leaking out of my eyes the whole time. I was breathing and singing quietly to myself and praying. And then they, the results came back, and he had said he saw something, right? Yeah, it could be this and this and this. There's a bit of this, there's a bit of that. And so I went and had the MRI. But when I had the MRI, it was already November 2019. And people here were already sick with the virus. They just had no way of testing for it. People were already sick. And I know, do you know how I know they were sick? Because they were sick for 6 weeks. There were people who were living on whole food, plant-based diets, were living on Mucinex and water. And they were texting me going, I get it. I understand this upper respiratory infection, but I don't understand why I can't smell or taste anything. And that was the bell that went ding, ding, ding a year later. It was already here. And we went to a wedding in January 2020 in Toronto. But in November, when I had the MRI, he told me they saw nothing. Now, they had to do images twice while I was in that MRI. And when I came back, he said, well, nothing, blah, 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 blah. And I went, are you kidding me? I've been a better part of a year going through from doctors to x-rays, a CAT scan, an MRI, and you can't tell me why I'm in pain? So I got sent to, when he left and I got another doctor, I got sent to a gynecologist, and the gynecologist is pressing down on my stomach, and he was pissed that I wouldn't let him do an internal because I didn't think he was going to do one, so I didn't have a shower, and you weren't going to, right? And he said, I don't know what they're saying that they can't see anything. He said, I can feel it. I can feel it. This was after COVID. So I had to have an ultrasound. I had an external ultrasound and an internal wand ultrasound. And I could see because the camera, the screen was up there. And she said, and she led me to believe that she said she couldn't say anything, but she led me to believe that I was right. There was something wrong with my uterus. And she said, well, the results will go to your doctor, but I'm just going to go talk to the doctor in the doctor in their section of the ultrasound. She said, he may want to see this. And when she came back in, she wouldn't look me in the eye. And she left me there with my legs in stirrups and a wand inside me to go get the doctor. And she came back and wouldn't look me in the eye. And she said, "No, everything looks good. The doctor doesn't want to see it, doesn't want to look. And, you'll get the results." And the results came back, nothing wrong. So, MRIs, forget it. Hey, Steven! The marigolds did not keep the cabbage moths off my cabbages. They're in trouble. I didn't know even where I was, and they put me in this tube with essentially a basket over my head, and I freaked out, have real bad anxiety at the best of times. What we're talking about is, Stephen, is for too long, we have been lulled into a false sense of security with our governments, with pharmaceutical companies, with health organizations, with all of these big corporate industries are now controlling our lives. And they're not doing a very good job, right? Veil's lifted. Everybody who's an idiot is starting to show themselves. And I no longer have faith in my government. I have faith in my doctor, but I don't have any faith, because my doctor I love, my new doctor, but I no longer have faith in anything outside, because I'm starting to think that, 58-year-old woman, yeah, it's probably painful, but we're not going to do surgery. This is COVID times, yada, 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 yada. So they just brushed me off. It's time to start looking after ourselves. And I don't necessarily mean self-diagnosing and self-treating, but we can treat some things. But nowadays, some of the cures are more deadly than the disease. Or not cures, but they're not making people well. They're keeping people well enough to work until they retire, and then we're allowed to die. Why? Because you should see the amount of pills they've got Howie on, Hey, Calstorm! Told the neurologist last year he gets one MRI and he better make it count, because I will not do it again. I'll never do it again unless I have no choice. Unless I've had a stroke or something and I'm not aware of what's going on. I have said COVID didn't cause all these issues. It brought issues to the surface faster. Well, the thing is they almost had us, didn't they? Right? I got to be really careful about how I talk from this point on. But I personally no longer have faith in anything bigger than a local doctor. I don't even have faith in local government, because it's all coming apart at the seams. So you seen England? Boris Johnson, the prime minister, has been asked to step down. Most of his cabinet has resigned. I have no idea why, but because he didn't handle something. He brushed something off that was a sexual offense in one of his cabinet ministers. I don't know what the hell was going on, in truth. But, I wish Canada had the balls to do the same thing. I wish they all up and left and refused to serve Trudeau. I would hope the NDP get disillusioned and turn on him, because then we have we have a chance to get him out. I don't trust 99.9% of the medical community. When I see my doctor wearing 2 masks when she comes in to see me, and then I said something about a cough and she runs out to get new masks, 3 of them. Well, folks, some people you got to look at it this way. For the last 3 years, we have been hammered by this pandemic. Not the pandemic, but how it was handled, its severity. how we were educated about it and lack thereof, and its severity, and how it should have been handled, and seniors were thrown under the bus. You know, Trudeau talks about frontline workers and nurses that he thinks he can drop some names and that makes him a person of the people. What about all the nurses that he allowed, that he pressured medical industries to get everybody vaccinated or they lost their jobs? Thousands of people. But he's praising the ones that knuckled under to keep their jobs, right? Good little, But the truth is, our country, our world is in total disarray. And nobody's coming to help us. Do you understand? Nobody is there. Nobody's on the other end of the phone when we're calling Parliament 911. Excuse me. Nobody's home. So what do we do? What do we do when we can't rely on municipal government or federal government or provincial government even, when everybody's at each other's throats? And people who bought into the panic and the fear, some are waking up and going, I've been had. And some are thinking, I've been had, but if I admit that I've been had, then I'm going to look like an idiot. So I'm just going to keep on with the narrative. And then there's people who've been like this all along going, no, this is a shitstorm in a teacup. And everybody who comes within range is going to get splattered. So what do we do? I love Patera too. You're right, Raf. Hello, darling. We are, I hear you. I hear you, Joe. I hear you, Sherry. We have to start taking responsibility for ourselves. It's hard. Why? Because we've been so used to being lulled into that the government has our best interests at heart. That big pharma has our best interests at heart. But when governments continue to rule instead of serving, which is their job, then there's a problem. So it is time, folks, for us to take responsibility for our own decisions, for our own health, for our own welfare. And we have to decide how bad. I mean, electric cars aren't the answer, are they? Why? Because the batteries, when they die, there's no safe way to dispose of them. They're being built in plants in China that are powered by coal-fired generators and coal-fired nuclear plants. And if they happen to catch fire, there's nothing you can do about it. And the environmental backlash from one electric car fire is really, really bad. So why push them on us? Right? Government's printing money to drive the prices up on everything. Throwing money at wars on the other side of the world when we have no credible information about what's going on, because all we're hearing from is government-controlled mainstream media. We have to be responsible. We have to look at home remedies, all right? Because half the shit they're giving us is just making us more sick. We have to look at feeding ourselves and not going to the grocery store for every little thing. Find a better way. Make your own bread. Grow what you can. And if you can't grow, get in direct contact with farmers and farmers markets. Make it stretch. Use it up. Wear it out. Make it do or do without. And don't believe everything you see on TV. They call it programming for a reason. They lied and lied and lied. We are special. We are still here and we are stronger. Absolutely. And I read a comment from somebody who's saying that, that the unvaccinated are the reason so many people died. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How can, and yet there are people out there that believe that people who didn't get vaccinated for whatever reason are murderers. There are people out there that actually believe that. Okay, Joe. Okay. Replacement batteries are so expensive, you may as well buy a new $60,000 car. Yeah, they're just creating more disposability, aren't they? So yeah, I have a gas guzzling truck. What about my carbon footprint? I don't use it that often. I don't. I can't afford the gas. If we can manage to get the truck to Pickering to pick up Howie's tires for his car, and don't get me on the tires for his car, it was my anniversary gift to him, then I'm going to make that trip worth my while. Because my truck, I used to every Tuesday, it's Tuesday, isn't it? That's what Briar and I used to. I'd phone Briar and say, what are you doing? He'd go, well, it's Tuesday, isn't it? Which means I could take him shopping, and I would drive the 20 kilometers to, or the 15, 20 kilometers to where he lived. I would pick him up, and then I would drive the 20 odd kilometers out to the IGA in Chelsea because they had his soy milk, right? They didn't carry it here. And if they did, it wasn't the right kind or whatever it was. And I would take him shopping. And then we would go to Tim Hortons. I don't do Tim Hortons anymore. Well, I do if say we're going to Pickering and I have no other choice, but I'm going to be taking a thermos along this time. But we don't do that anymore. Why? Because we can't afford it. And besides, Briar's moved to Gatineau, but that's not the point. The point is the days of just going into town to take Briar to the grocery store and me pick a little something up are gone. I ain't going unless I got a reason to go. And I'll make it worth my while. These are the decisions that we have to make now, right? Everything you do, every decision you make, if it impacts your health, your wealth or lack thereof, your pantry or your gas tank, everything has to be thought through twice. That's called being responsible for your actions, right? I hope police don't think that way. I'm in trouble. If it does, I don't get shots ever to chicken. I don't understand what that means. Hey, Waldo, take care, sweetheart. The only time I ever buy a coffee is when McDonald's has their summer $1 coffee. Well, this is another thing. Please make this make sense for me. You go to Tim Hortons and they give you a paper coffee cup, but it's not really paper. It's 2 sheets of paper with a plastic in between. So you feel like you're doing okay. And it's not recyclable. You go to McDonald's. I've taken Briar to McDonald's. You go to McDonald's and you get a shake and they give you a paper straw. And now breads are coming with paper bread tags. Those things are not reusable. All right. I get making personal responsibility choices about single-use plastics. I get that. But when you got to poke that paper straw through a plastic lid, What's the point? You're either going to do it all or you're not going to do it at all. You know what I mean? Hey, Abby Iggy. People died because they weren't treated right. You shouldn't lay in bed and not move if your lungs are filling. Hell, even after major surgery, they want you up and walking to keep from getting pneumonia. Exactly. You said those who never got boosters are killers, and I don't see myself like that, scared to get needles. You said those who never got boosters. No. No, I said there are people out there who think the unvaccinated, and if I'm being trailed, things will start breaking up soon, and you'll start losing me because they have programs that, you know, fish for words. But if you didn't get it, there are people out there who think those that didn't get the jab for like medical reasons, for me, because I react to like everything in the pharmaceutical industry almost. But they're blaming the unvaccinated and calling us murderers because we didn't get the jab. If you're protected, you're protected. All right, Joe, I'll shut up now. Most of it gets put in the trash heap anyhow. Well, now, Lacey, you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. I'm not saying don't recycle. I'm saying that when you go to the store, think, be responsible for, okay, shop less, buy less, use less, throw away less. It's not about what you do with the packaging. Yes, if you have to buy it and it's got packaging, find a way to reuse it over and over and over again before it goes to the recycle bin. The recycle bin is not a get out of jail free card. All right. But it's not just that. It's not just reusing. It's reducing and reusing. Shop less. Make do. Spend less. Make do. Throw away less. Be responsible for the packaging. This is what I'm saying. This is, I mean, look at it this way, right? Little old ladies up at the counter. I read this on social media. Little old ladies at the counter, and the checkout lady puts her stuff in plastic bags, and the 30-something person behind her said, "Well, you know, you really shouldn't use plastic bags because blah 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 and planetary la 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 la." Okay. Does a baby bounce better dry or wet? I don't know. And the 30-something's going, you know, she said, we didn't have recycling and all that stuff. We didn't have, you know, this and this and this. And she said, well, yeah, it's our problem. You guys didn't fix it when you had the chance. You guys are responsible. We're left with the bill. And the lady looked at her and said, my dear, I reuse these plastic bags whenever I get them. She said, when I was your age, we didn't have plastic bags. Or when I was, you know, because this lady's 90-something. When I was your age, we didn't have plastic bags. We didn't have tubs for margarine or Tupperware or laundry soap in a jug. Laundry soap, if you weren't making it yourself, came in a cardboard box that could be burnt. You know, food didn't come in plastic jars. Most of our food we canned ourselves or grew ourselves. You know, we didn't have disposable diapers. We had cloth. We didn't have, you know, we didn't have sanitary napkins. We had rags. My mother, you know, she'd said my mother dressed me in flour sacks because flour didn't come in plastic bags. Feed didn't come in plastic bags. They came in cloth that we reused. We didn't have trash compactors or recycling or anything else. We made do with what we had, and we learned. She said, so don't be blaming all of this on us. We worked for everything we did, and we never took the easier, softer way. She said, all these modern conveniences are modern. It's a modern problem because we didn't have this problem back in 1920. Hello, all the things acres and all showing up. All things acres, hi, how are you? Walmart did that last April, bring your own bags, and then the following month they did not have bags to sell, or the plastic ones. They was totally out. You're not going to fix it by taking away what you've gotten us used to. We have to fix it by not doing the things we're used to. That's why we have the Frugal Living series, right? We're going to think. We're going to think. I mean, I'm thinking about my firewood. I was going to order firewood, but I'm waiting to hear back from a lumberjack to come and take down some of my dead trees because there's firewood standing, right? And the branches mulched into my fill and for my garden, into a pile for my garden, right? Yes, it's going to cost me money, but guess what? I'll get firewood out of it. I'll get mulch out of it, right? And I'll have dangerous trees removed. It's all good. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, All Things Acres. Love to you back. It's so stupid. I've got so many bags in the car because I forgot them so many times at home. Well, I keep grocery bags in the car. But when I go to the IGA where the paper, now this is, I pay for my bags. But when I go to the IGA where the bags are paper, I get them to put them in the paper bags, and then I take them out to the car and I put them in the shopping bags so that I can carry them in the house. Because I reuse those paper bags for many, many, many things. I've been bringing my own bags shopping since 2006 and buying extra plastic bags for garbage. Bags can't do that now. I bought a box of garbage bags and a box of kitchen garbage bags from Costco well over a year ago. And because we have reduced, we have less garbage going out. I'm composting again, right? I have my little compost bucket. Well, the municipality gave me it, and they gave me a bin too to put out to the curb, but there's nobody to pick it up. This is what I'm saying. It doesn't work. But I have my little compost pail, and every day, my watermelon rinds. Oh, somebody told me that when you eat watermelon, sometimes you have a thick white rind, peel that and stir fry it, apparently, because I eat the rind, the white part, right down to the skin. Right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I put bread. If I don't have one of my long bread loaf bags because I haven't been saving them that long, because I just started baking my own bread again, I'll put my bread in a Walmart bag, right? I'll put my bread in a Walmart bag or a shopping bag, and I'll just squeeze all the air out of it and tie it, throw it in the freezer. It's not going to be in there long. I make bread every week. I wish I had, the IGA only has paper bags, right? Oh, we were talking about wringer washers for when we are out and my service dog goes number 2. Well, we do that too, right? We always have, but I mean, I would rather Howie use a piece of paper towel or a wrapper from the garbage or something to pick up the dog poop. Why? Because it's a waste of a good bag. And so, but yeah, I mean, everybody has to do their part in order. Let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. There is hope for a future. We are the hope for the future. You feel me? So I'm going to turn my fan on. And somebody wanted a card. Who wanted a card? I use my plastic grocery bags for the cat litter boxes. I love that I have clotheslines because I don't have to waste electricity. Well, I don't have a clothesline. I have my hangers. out there in my drying rack. And I'm going to be making a quilt for my grandbaby, and it's not going to be it's going to be a real classic quilt. So take care, honey. Take care, Cal. You can make pickles out of the rind too. I did that once. I didn't like them. So when my watermelon comes in, if I harvest any watermelons or any watermelons I buy at the store, I'm gonna wash. I always wash them before I cut them. Like I cut the end off the watermelon and put it on a plate in the fridge, and that watermelon lasts me for days. But I always wash the skin because I end up cutting little wedges with the rind on them and throwing them in a bowl. Think about where that skin's been, right? But from now on, when I do watermelons, and if I get a glut of watermelons, I'm going to be happy. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to puree it and freeze it, right? Whatever I can't eat, I'm going to puree it and freeze it, or juice it and freeze it. And then the rinds, I'm going to cut up for stir fry, just like zucchini. Being a Grammy is the best. Oh, Tina, I'm already a grandmother. You know what I mean? I got pictures of the baby bump. And as you know, there's been some tense times in the last few years with family. And I've had to button my lip a lot of times. Because there was a lot of tension about vaccinations and non-vaccinations and illness and masks and all of these things. So I had to take a step back. But the truth is, this grandbaby is more than just a grandbaby. It's the healing balm my family needs. Because this pandemic has not just torn families apart. I think I'm really grateful it hasn't torn mine apart. But it has put walls between people. It's been 2.5 years of people not knowing how to function as units anymore. They almost won, didn't they? Well, I don't want to dehydrate the watermelon. It's like candy, but I don't want to do that. I like fresh, crisp watermelon. But yeah, I'm going to be using those rinds. Someone said you can stir fry them. Great. I'll be peeled from now on. Once I've eaten my watermelon, I'll be cutting the white out and dicing it up, and in the freezer it goes. Waste not, want not. And then the peels go in. Well, the peels go in the compost anyway. I was in the delivery room when my grandson was born because my son is in the Air Force and wasn't there. I requested a card, but if you're drawn to somebody else. All right, Jinko. Jinko. What am I feeling here? Oh. So I don't know. You know, everybody's feeling. It's like, you know, wedding receptions and things. How do people handle that now? Ginkgo, you got the penguin. Reach out to your tribe in times of need. This could be said for all of us. Reach out to your tribe in times of need. Family gives you strength when you face the storm. Love your uniqueness. You are full of surprises. Break free from others' expectations. Just be yourself. And there's going to be a whole rumble on what it means to be yourself. Because there's some weird crap going on in the world. Ginger! Oh, that's a nice name. I have a cousin, niece, whose name is Virginia, and she always went by. Well, births and deaths draw us together, but I'm still feeling, it's hard to describe as an empath. What I'm feeling is people are trying to get back to that smooth, comfortable, flowing way of being with other people. But we've been away from it so long that it's almost like trying to put a square peg in a round hole, and we're not sure how we're doing it, and all of those things, right? All of those things. We don't even know, it's like, oh, can we get together? Is it safe? Do I have to wear a mask? All of these things, we're constantly second guessing ourselves because we've been browbeaten with do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. Don't gather for Christmas. Don't gather for Thanksgiving. Don't do the 4th of July. Nobody wants to do the 4th of July or Canada Day this year. Why? Because our governments suck. And it's really, but listen, folks, governments come and governments go, but our country is still our country. And we are the solution. When we stand up and say, hey, no, you don't get to do that to me. When we stand up and say, no, I want a second opinion. When we stand up and say, you told me to do my research when there was no research to do because you had it all under cloak and dagger. All of these things have disrupted. We have been completely disrupted constantly for over 2 years. That messes with families, that messes with human communication. This whole 6 feet apart, do you know why that was? Your heart gives off energy. Your heart chakra is really, really powerful. But if you stand 6 feet apart from somebody else, your heart chakras can't connect. You can't connect. You can connect with words and actions, but you can't get the soul heart connection going on. That's why, did you know that hugs are medicinal? In order for a hug to be medicinal, you have to, just don't go boom like that, like a Tom Cruise, back off. A hug is where you wrap yourself in with somebody else and you hold and you breathe and you strengthen each other's energies. And for a hug to be medicinal at that level, it has to last a minimum of 20 seconds. Why? Because when you get into that hug, after the count of 5 or 6, your instinct is to pull away. Hell, nobody wants to hug at all anymore. But your instinct is to pull away after 5 or 6 seconds. But if you say, wait, and you start relaxing and you start breathing, and then the magic happens. Hugs can be very, very healing because they are a physical expression of love and safety and security. Hugs are medicinal. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Ginger is my legal name. Huh. So, I mean, Howie sleeps out in the coach, but I have to get a hug a day. I don't get to see him before he leaves for work in the morning, and that's okay. But when he comes home, I get my hug, I get my kiss. Why? Because I need it. The more we are apart, the less we know how to get shit back together. All right? Let's break the pattern that they've tried to force on us. I'll admit I hate hugs. They make me uncomfortable. Well, you got to examine that, Lacey. You should examine that, Lacey Black. Why are hugs uncomfortable for you? Because they're not supposed to be. Go back. Find out why hugs make you uncomfortable. Examine that. Trace it, face it, and erase it. Hugs aren't supposed to be uncomfortable. Touch is crucial to life. That's why one of the things I love, I get all excited in January. that I want to start seeds and I have to hold myself back from starting seeds. Why? Because working with living things, not just the soil, but plants, working with living things, baby chicks hatching. Oh God, I miss that so much. But working with living things is a crucial energy exchange. It's an energy exchange. It's proven that when you put your hands in the soil, not, clinically sterile crap, but in the soil, and the longer your hands and feet are in the soil, the more in touch you are with the energy of the planet. The planet is a living thing. We have lived too long thinking that we are separate from our Mother Earth. We're not. We are a living organism, part of the biosphere. And we have been wiping the shit from our heels on it for far too long. It is time to going back to treating the planet the way it's meant to be treated. It's our mother. It feeds us. It sustains us with oxygen and weather and water. We couldn't just live out in space unless we took the things from the earth with us to sustain us. Think about that. So everybody's going, oh, environment, electric cars, legislation. That's not how it works. It works with personal responsibility. Don't believe. If they're trying to push something on you through mainstream media, you can bet they've got an agenda for it, and it's got nothing to do with the environment or your health or your planet. It's got to do with this. Soil, absolutely. Created from dust, returned to dust at the end of our days. That's right. To the dust you shall return. I miss hugs. Everyone's getting so big they don't want them anymore. But the baby sitting on my lap makes me feel better. Exactly. Why do you think, our cats and dogs sleep with us? If your cat and dog sleeps in a crate and doesn't sleep with you, then you're missing out on a really important relationship. Yes, I grumble because Gracie, I'll get up, go to the bathroom, I come back, she's in the middle of the bed. She just magically slid into the middle of the bed. And she grumbles. And she has her own blanket that I lift. And I say, get under, because she doesn't like the fan. It bothers her ears. She's always had ear problems. So she gets under her blanket and she goes, and she does her little circle and she gets down and she sleeps up against my bum. When we're in the coach, she sleeps with us. It doesn't matter. Why? Because living things need to be with living things. It's a shared energy. My car is almost paid off and it's losing oil. Can't find out where it's leaking from. Check your head. Get your head gas. Is it smoking and stuff? Get your head gasket checked. It's only 5 years old. Don't buy a Hyundai. Howie has a Hyundai. 2017 Hyundai. And, it is what it is. But we're working. I'm lucky enough to have a husband who can maintain changing tires. And we change the oil. And when the brakes start to go, we get them replaced. All of these things are much cheaper than buying another car. Take a baby or an animal to a nursing home. Watch even the dementia patient's response. And music, too. Music. Did you know that they've made it kind of a law that music has to be broadcast at a certain hertz? And it's not the good one. It's look up sound hertz and how it affects us. All right, Joe. Yeah, I know, sweetheart. Let's do our closing prayer, because I didn't realize I've been here longer than an hour. Hey, all 7 dogs sleep with me. Why do you think we bought our first king size bed? Because we had 4 dogs. Right? And if we wanted to sleep, right? Why? We are responsible for their health and their happiness, right? We are their whole life. They have a much shorter life than us. So I can't walk through my garden barefoot. I wish I could. I remember the days when I used to dig my feet into the freshly tilled soil and just face the sun and feel the wind, right? And I've paid for that. You know, there came a time where I couldn't garden at all. I'm back, right? And it's a lifeline for me, not just because of my pantry, because it's working with life and nurturing life that will in return nurture me, right? Anyway, let's it's getting time. I've got to close. It's been over an hour and a half. And so for all those who care to, we're going to do our prayer. You do not have to stay. There is no judgment if you leave. It's not everybody's bag of tricks. That's a horrible way to say it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, right? Hi, Doris. So let's take some deep breaths. And for all those who care to, please help me close with us connecting with our faith. You connect to your faith, I'll connect to mine. If my language and how I talk to my faith or communicate with my higher power isn't the same as yours, that's okay. You don't have to do what I do. But what we can do is all come together and put our energy and our love of our faith together and help each other heal and help the world heal just a little bit more, right? So ready? All right. Night. Think about taking huge deep breaths and blowing out candles, right? Hey God, creator and one source of all, Father of Christ, who you gave us and you sent down to earth to us to teach us the absolute necessity of how important love is, that we are our own healers, that we have everything we need to raise our vibrations and heal ourselves and each other from within with love and light and compassion. So thank you, God, for that. Thank you for bringing us together tonight so that we can talk about the hard things. We can talk about taking personal responsibility for the decisions we make that shape our future, shape our children's future, our grandchildren's future. About getting back in touch with each other through love and music and hugs and communication. We almost didn't make it. So thank you, God, for keeping us whole and well. And if we're not always well, God, thank you for giving us the energy to keep putting one foot in front of the other till a better day comes. Sometimes we know it's not all sunshine and roses, but then we wouldn't appreciate you if we didn't see the devil out of the corner of our eye, right? So God, please fill us with the divine light of your love. Fill us so full that as we reach out our hearts and our hands to each other across the world, the power of your love and light is so strong, it pushes out of us and creates a beautiful beam of light like a lighthouse in the storm, to push back the darkness and to lead others in from the storm and from the fog and from the peril of the rocks. We just have to trust God. We just have to trust, and we have to start making decisions with our heart and our conscience and our soul. Everything has to be re-examined, God. And we know that now. So thank you. Thank you for bringing us here. Another day in the light of your love. Please, God, look after our friends that are sick and ailing and dealing with medical issues and surgeries and procedures, alcoholism, loneliness, rejection from loved ones. God, we know of your love. So please help us push that lighthouse out for those who need you more than us. We got you. We know. But not everybody's in that safe place. So thank you, God, for bringing us together and allowing us to shine. Amen. Shalom. Namaste. Peace be with you. Merry meet, merry part. Blessed be. Miigwech. Peace be with you. Walk in the light of God. The language doesn't really matter as long as it's said with love and earnestness. Let's keep putting one foot in front of the other. Let's keep supporting each other as we navigate how we go forward from the mess that surrounds us. All right. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you guys on Sunday, probably sometime Sunday afternoon. Love you guys. And there may be somebody with me. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.